Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Web3 with Whitney. This is day 21 of my 21-day streak of live streams. And I actually almost didn't go live today. It's 11:29 p.m. Pacific time, so I am cutting it very close. A little not so fun fact about me is that I have food sensitivities that can sometimes flare up and become really extreme. And I'm having one of those flare ups today. So I've spent the last few hours feeling pretty awful, but I'm all good, all things considered. I'm just going to be a little sniffly and maybe sneezy. I'm going to have the mute button up. So when I sneeze or need to blow my nose, I'm determined to do this video today despite not feeling well. And I actually was going to give myself permission to skip because I feel like it's important not to take ourselves so seriously. And as much as I feel like I want to be consistent and not let people down, I feel like most people at this point are not going to be that disappointed if I don't do a video or the audio stream every day. But it's important to me to be consistent, as I've mentioned. And I was going through Twitter trying to feel inspired, and I found a subject matter that I felt like would work really well. So before I get into that, as usual, I always like to remind you that you can go over to whitneylauritsen.com/web3. That has all the resources, the links to the previous episodes. There's a section where you can drop in your questions and earn yourself some free well coin, which is my token coin on Rally. And just trying to build out this website to be useful to you. I've been considering doing the Discord behind the scenes. That's just on pause, but really, this is just meant to be the main hub, links to everything, and some ways to get in touch with me. So let's dive into this topic, which was inspired by a tweet I saw from Coinbase on their account, which was, "What does Web3 mean to you?" And there were a ton of replies. I think at least 128, maybe more, actually. No, maybe there was more. Hold on. Sometimes I get confused by, oh, here we go. Much, much more. There were 1,600 replies. So I'm not going to go through all of them. I wish there was an easier way to be able to sort the top responses, but it does do a little bit of that here. And I want to read some of them because I've been reflecting a lot on what Web3 means to me. In fact, initially, tonight's episode was going to be based on this article I found called "What is Web3 and Why It Matters." I linked to it in the notes for today in the description of the video episodes. And this is on Fabric Ventures, and it's on medium.com, written by a man named Max Mersch and Richard Murhead. And it was a really good read, I thought, because it outlined the differences. As you know, I've talked many times about the differences between Web 2 and Web 3 and the whole evolution, but I really liked it the way it was phrased here. And so maybe I'll come back around and read through this article. But for now, if you want to go check it out, again, the link to it is in my video description. And then I also found this really interesting resource that I want to dive more into. I feel like I only scratched the surface, but I found it really fascinating. I think it might have been in a comment on that previous article I just mentioned. It's a website called Web3 is Going Just Great. And that's definitely sarcastic because it is actually pointing out all of the things that are not going well in Web3. And so it I'm still trying to understand exactly what the point of the site is. It to completely trash Web3? Is it to show a pessimistic view so that people don't just see it through rose-colored glasses? Um, Even the about section is not super clear. This was written by a woman named Molly White, who says it's a personal project of mine and reflects my own opinions. If you're looking for an unbiased descriptor of Web3 and related technologies, there are short ones in the glossary, but that is not the goal of this site. So she has lots of resources on here. She's a software engineer by trade who's very passionate about free and open knowledge and resources and presenting information that is more accessible to all. So she also has longer form, less sarcastic thoughts on Web3 on her own blog, which I have not read yet. So I just found this. I'm going to go through it. I think it's also important to look at pessimistic viewpoints of anything, and this is something that I've been trying to do more and more in my life, is find people that have opposite viewpoints and not always try to prove them wrong or see them as wrong, but look at all different angles of things. I think that really helps us with our knowledge. And I'm going to pause for a second to clear my nose, so I'm going to pull up the screen so that anyone watching on on YouTube can see something while I pause for a sec. I feel kind of like I have a cold, but I don't. And this is also the fun behind the scenes. Again, not so fun. I'm saying that sarcastically. Um, I have struggled with this health challenge for at least 10 years and have had it mostly figured out by changing my diet and avoiding foods that give me these flare ups. But this tonight, I'm reminded of how I struggled for like 10 years, not knowing what was wrong with me and having all these doctors misdiagnose me. And that's actually played a really big role in my whole journey and also my mental health because certainly the way that we feel physically impacts us emotionally and mentally and can lead us to feel all sorts of emotions. And I just want to be an ongoing reminder to you that if you don't feel good, take time for yourself and rest, slow down. In fact, I before I found this Twitter thread from Coinbase that I'm going to dig into in a moment, I was thinking of just coming on, going live and saying, "Hey, I'm taking a break. I'm pausing. Let this be a reminder to everyone to pause and take care of yourself." And I figure that is definitely worth saying, even though I'm not doing that myself. I actually am, once I finish this live, I usually work around midnight every single night. I have like this burst of energy until between 1 and 2 a.m. So that's usually where I get some of my daily work done. So don't worry, I didn't stay up late just to do this live. And I'm curious if you're a night owl too. I'm always fascinated by other people and their schedules and their health challenges. So if you want to share any of that with me, I'd love to hear it from you. All right, so let's go back into this Coinbase. This Coinbase conversation, what does Web3 mean to you? And I'm just going to pull up some at random. One came from Brown Baddies NFT, who said it means transparency, inclusivity, and authenticity to be yourself. It is a space where minorities have the chance to be on an equal standing. So I hope we are able to best leverage this new world to elevate those who are traditionally unrepresented. And I love that. I think that's such a beautiful response. There's lots of images on here, so I really encourage you, if you're just listening to the audio only version of this, that you go over to one of the video recordings on YouTube, for example. I like this graphic that was shared by Punk8745, who said it means for the culture, and I like whatever graphic this is. I like the colors. This is also kind of funny. NFT Einstein said to Coinbase, which is one of the marketplaces and wallets, NFT Einstein said, by the time you guys launch it, it'll be Web 4. I'm going to heart that one. I've actually heard a few references to Web 4 tonight, mostly as jokes, but it just got me thinking how maybe there'll be a Web 4. Like we've gone through Web 1, Web 2, Web 3 on the horizon. And who knows? I mean, I guess it's possible in like another 5 or 10 years. We're in a completely different space online. Okay, another one from Brycent said ownership, community, and culture for forward thinking, innovative Web3 enthusiasts. Ooh, here's another cool artwork from Potts Garden Club. Must be an NFT collection. These are neat looking. Lexi Hart said, unfortunately, it is starting to mean that corporations are invading, bringing their gates to divide the haves from the have nots, ends up more of the same. And I think that's a really important point to consider here, and something else that I've come across in some of the skepticism or pessimism of Web3. Um, People feeling like it's not going to be that different, and we're not going to have all of the big goals that we're trying to reach with Web3, and that I forget where I was seeing it, probably just through scrolling through Twitter earlier of people saying like Jeff Bezos is just going to come in and shift everything. All these powerful people are going to block us from having the space that Brown Baddies represented, which is this inclusivity and authenticity and people having the chance to feel on equal standing. There are concerns that it's not going to end up being that way. And I hope that that's not true, but I think it's a valid fear and something that we should all keep in mind, that nothing is promised to us to be perfect and easy and equal. And we still have a lot to work through. We probably always will. So, but we have to each find our path through pessimism. And I think everybody kind of views life through different lenses and different waves, different time periods. Sometimes we feel really positive, sometimes negative, maybe mostly negative, mostly positive. And this is part of the reason I'm really passionate about mental health and prioritizing our own well being and recognizing that we're all going through these ebbs and flows. And so is all the technology around us because it's representing us. With that, I'm going to pause again and switch back over to the Web3 is going great. So I can take care of my nose. I'll be right back. And if you're listening to the audio only version of this, maybe you can use the pauses, the times where I'm going to mute myself, as an option, as an opportunity to reflect. I'm not going to edit them out, mainly to save myself some time. But anytime there's a pause and a quiet space, it's just nice to pause for a moment and enjoy the silence. I think so many of us are used to things moving at such a rapid pace, especially if you're into TikTok like I am. We get so used to all the things moving so fast that long form content like this starts to feel like it's going for too long or it's taking forever to get to the point. And I think one thing I've really learned to embrace within my own work and encourage you to reflect on too is self expression doesn't need to be rushed, and everybody just has a different pace in which they prefer. So it doesn't always have to be fast. In fact, that actually reminds me of something else I read on Twitter earlier today. Somebody was commenting how they think that people who are successful are those that respond to things really quickly. And I think there's a lot of that mentality in Web3, this fastness, that hustle culture. But that's actually what I'm hoping to move away from. I think we've seen a lot of that in Web2. I don't like that. I don't think that's good for our mental health and our overall well being. I think it's important for us to slow down and pace ourselves and rest and take care of ourselves physically. And this whole idea that we have to respond to things quickly, it also is so important for us to know that everybody's brain works differently. And this is something I've had to embrace within myself is I am generally not very good at moving fast. It doesn't feel like I'm able to function and thrive when I move too fast. I need time to reflect and process, and I get overwhelmed very easily. I really prioritize my health. And so I need time away from my computer and my phone. And this person, and also a lot of people in the comments around this specific tweet were kind of cheering for like, yeah, if you don't respond to a text right away, like you're not a successful person, or that doesn't reflect that you're a successful person. And I thought, this is complete BS. Like I almost responded to it, but it did not feel worth it to me. But I wanted to just pass that message on to you. And you might disagree with me. That's okay. You might agree that, and you might prefer life to be fast. You might prefer people to respond to you quickly. But I think it's important for us to remember that not everybody operates that way, and we really don't have to. It's just a choice. All right, back to the Twitter thread about what Web3 means to other people. There's a quote that someone posted from Steve Jobs. Everyone here has a sense that right now is one of those moments when we are influencing the future. I like that quote. I always found Steve Jobs to be fascinating and poignant and very influential. And I think that quote is interesting because I think we're always influencing the future, of course, but right now there definitely is a sense in Web3 that there's a big shift happening. One person, Billy M2K, said a buzzword that people ascribe all their hopes and dreams of making money to. Definitely some truth to that. I'm gonna like that one. Let's see. S_bingeable said, shifting the balance of power from the networks to the creators and the communities they build. Ooh, I hope that's true. Lots of, I mean, there's such a range of responses here. Trying to see whichever catches my eye. There's some like very straightforward definitions that I think are just based on what people have read. And I'm just going through some more. Okay, how about this one? Woozy_Pelican said, it's about building together in unison with community through the face of an uncertain future because it's new and hasn't been seen before. I like that, well articulated. NFT Busy Bee said, empowered contribution, ownership, shared governance, distribution of revenue. Lots of cool artwork. Wow, this Metacorn UV is really neat. It means there is a place that being weird is 100% acceptable. I think that's very true too. I think this might be one of the reasons it resonates with so many people is that people feel like they can express themselves in whatever way is really authentic to them. And I think a lot of NFT looks, quote, weird, whatever that means to you, but it's very embraced. There's a lot of like people that might feel like outcasts that are finally feeling like they have their place. Wow, this is cool too. I'm so fascinated. Like, what is with all the apes in Web3? Is it this artwork on the screen again? If you're listening to the audio version, I feel like this is a good one to watch the video version of, because I'm looking at this ape NFT and it's got this space theme. Is that what the apes are based on, or is it just like some humanity commentary? I don't really know the history. Let's see. Mean Surfy says no corporate centralized entity making our decisions for us and getting rich off of our data. Then they said, I guess the opposite of Coinbase. So it's so interesting too. Like when people write things like that, you know, Coinbase is starting this whole conversation and people look at it as an opportunity to contribute to this conversation, but also in a backhanded way. I'm so fascinated. My episode of my main podcast, This Might Get Uncomfortable, that came out today, was about people like leaving rude comments, trolling, bullying, you know, just how there's this culture of people that feel like they have to say rude or mean or critical things to one another. I'm deeply fascinated by the psychology. I mean, on the other hand, though, maybe this person has a point. You know, it's tough to see big organizations in this world, and I think that's really triggering for people that do feel like Web3 is based on community and the ground level and equality, and I think there's a big fear that Web3 won't be that way, and it's just going to be more power struggles and middlemen and all of these things that people are hoping to avoid. Remains to be seen. All right, back. I'm going to read a few more and then wrap up so I can do some self care tonight. Uh, Infinite said it means the prices of transactions and the ability to bookkeep more of the world's resources will enable us to bring more people out of poverty sooner. Wouldn't that be nice? I hope that's true. Ooh, this is a cool metaverse project. Neat. Oops, didn't mean to click on that. Participation economy. NFT Cal wrote that. I like that. Participation economy. James Crawford, Ink Scriber, said in part a return to the original promise of the internet with much more powerful technology. Also, the amalgamation of collectibles, culture, art, community with the ability to interact in new and exciting ways. Fran Bowl 11 says less friction for niche communities to thrive with credible neutrality. And I'll just pick a few more. Papa Psalms Llama, which looks like it's part of a collection, another really cool NFT. I just like if you stare at this long enough, it's so mesmerizing, I think. They said the ability to connect with each other to help purchase items and share experiences seamlessly is amazing. Yeah. I think I'm following. Is it this one looks familiar to me? I think that, or maybe I just know their NFTs. But the Tech Rabbi said Web3 means opportunity for all. I really like the Tech Rabbi's NFT artwork. It's really neat. More apes. Paris Hilton. Collective consciousness. A leaf sheesh said that. Let's see. I want to find a good one to end on today. Somebody, Matique underscore one said an excuse for people to put selfies on Twitter. Definitely feels like that this week. This is cool. I like this artwork, kind of Doge pound. So fascinating. I'm just like, I could scroll through Twitter all day long, and I often do because I'm just fascinated by all these different perspectives, all this different artwork. Okay. I kind of instinctually, I'm going to read this one as my final one. Ido underscore cherry. In Web3, an ocean of information will be available to websites and applications, and they will be able to understand and use that data in a way that is meaningful to the individual user. It is the next generation of internet technology that heavily relies on the use of, well, this is kind of textbook too. I want like a really good, I feel like I'm looking for some emotional response. Universal pet income. XXL size Chad said that one. Okay. Master Blaster 3T said they would not have shut down Club Penguin if had it been Web3. I have so many I love references to Club Penguin. I've never actually played it, but I remember it when it was really big, and I don't know, it just brings back nostalgia reading about that. Okay. How about this one? This one's beautiful. So again, please come and look at the video version or go to the Coinbase thread and try to find this one from Camilla underscore artwork, who said ability to authenticate my digital art and keep track of it, as well as receive royalties in perpetuity and be able to provide value to its owners whenever I want to. I mean, that's one of the more standard definitions of Web3, but I think this artwork just kind of reminds me of how important that is to people, you know. And actually, if you click on Camilla's tweet, there's all these responses of people talking about this artwork and how they love the colors, and I just think artwork's ability to move people is so incredible and powerful. And we are really seeing a shift with artwork. I've never gotten that into artwork myself, at least not in a way that I think about often. And I guess art can be all sorts of things, but the way that I've seen art represented through Web3 is absolutely amazing. And this image from Camilla, who I'm going to put up her account on the screen, Camilla underscore artwork, Portuguese digital artist. Camilla's artwork is beautiful and magical, and it's just colorful and vibrant, and it brings up a lot of emotions for me. And I feel like so much of NFT artwork evokes this. And maybe that's part of why it's really resonating with people. It's exciting to people on financial levels, but they're moved emotionally and excited about things in the community and the conversations. And there's just like a lot of positive energy. So even though there might be pessimism, and again, going back to the web3isgoinggreat.com site where it's sharing stories about people being hacked and stolen crypto, people that are taking off with funds, bigoted tweets. This was the big thing a few days ago from the ENS governance. I referenced this and was very confused by it for a while, but you can come on here and read about it if you'd like. And you could go onto the site and see all the pessimism, right? Like, and I think, again, this is important to see. It's important to be mindful about what's going on and see it from all these different sides. But it's also really important to see the positivity and the beauty and the connection. I mentioned that I've been in this 8-week program that just started last week, and it is such a even hard to describe experience of just being with a group of, I think there's about 400 people in this cohort, and just hearing from them every day and seeing what they're working on and the excitement, and going on Twitter, even in the discords. And there's just like something about Web3 that I can't even put into words. So if I were going to respond to Coinbase, it would take me some time to articulate it. But I guess I'm mostly a glass half full type of person. But I try to pay attention to the glass half empty perspectives too, just to keep me grounded in reality and honor that everybody looks at life through a different lens. And I'm very curious what your lens is. So if you want to reach out to me, and if you would like an opportunity to get some free well coin, this would be a perfect way to share. So go to whitneylauritsen.com/web3, email me, message me on social, however you want to reach out, and tell me, what does Web3 mean to you right now? And how is that evolving? Maybe it's changed. What was it in the past and what is it right now? On my website, there's a question and topic requests, and you could put it in there. And that's actually a really easy way to send me your email address so I can send you some free well coin. So I'd be happy to send you some in exchange for hearing about what Web3 means to you. You can tweet me. You can. I'm very easy to reach. My username across most platforms is at Whitlauritsen, WHITLAURITSEN. Or you can reach me at Eco Vegan Gal if you are old school like that. That's my original username. But I will I will find your message, and I would love to hear from you, and I would love to send you some well coin in exchange for your participation and your contribution and your connection, because that's really what makes a community. And I guess if I were to respond to Coinbase, that's what I would say. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll just say that word. You know, sometimes when you see a thread like this where there's so many people responding, for me, I tend not to respond. I'm like, my response is just going to get lost. But right now, in this moment, I'm just going to respond to, what does Web3 mean to you? I'm going to say community. Period. That's it. So you could respond to me here if you wanted. Whatever method you prefer, I'd love, love, love to hear from you. And I want to know what Web3 means to you. So thank you for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for bearing through my not so great health condition tonight, but perseverance is important sometimes. And I'm going to go wrap up my work so I can go to bed and rest up for tomorrow. It's actually 11:59 p.m. So tomorrow is about to begin. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever time it is for you. And I'll be back again with the next video and audio version of this series soon. Bye for now.